Hey guys, I'm Tony Wang, scholar of the Book of Changes. This is continue my chatting with Tony about Yijing blog. What is the most important thing about Chinese culture? Have you ever been asked? Well, I tell you, 2 words, 关系. What does 关系 mean? 关 is close. 系 is the string that ties up things or get connected. 关系 in Chinese actually is translated as relationship. But when a Chinese person says 没有关系, it has double meanings. 没有关系, number 1, means don't worry. It doesn't matter. The second meaning is more close to what we want to introduce. 没有关系, you have no 关系, no relationship, no connection. If you go into a Chinese society and you don't have 关系, you 没有关系. You are impoverished in terms of social resources. You are a loner. So the thing that will get the Chinese panic is pushing him into a social circle and deprive him of all the connections. He has no 关系. Literally, he is 没有关系. 没有 means no. He has no 关系, but if he study Yijing with me, he will be 没有关系 the same. Doesn't matter. 没有关系 it means it doesn't matter. Because you have no worry about relationship. So 关系 is a knot, a tide. Now, why I say this? Because now I'm going to tell you something I observed, very important. Yijing has been introduced to the Western society for centuries. So far, most Westerners, or if I said non-Chinese speaking person who study Yijing, will stick to the Book of Changes words. Confucius, as I said repeatedly, has introduced and has more or less edited the Book of Changes. Altogether, there are some more than 10,000 words. These words are fragments that will explain a hexagram or a note is written by Wang, Yijing, as well as Gong and Confucius. Now, most people will interpret the Book of Changes based on words. In my opinion, this is not a smart way to study. Number 1, words are not easy to translate. No matter how smart you can get the meaning, you always get just, scratch of the words. Therefore, you do not necessarily know or get the knack of learning how to predict or how to understand the hexagrams. So let me repeat. It is not a smart idea to learn Yijing from words. And for people who don't read Chinese, they start from English or some languages, the translations. Now, reading translation is worse than having sex with condom or shake hand with a glove. You don't get real touch. And like good music, touch is more important than anything else. If you don't have the fear of touch, you lose everything. So, what to do? Let me introduce some history of the Book of Changes. After Confucius in Han Dynasty, there's a guy whose name called Jin Fang. There are two Jin Fang. One is a musician, and this one is a scholar of Yijing. He actually organized the Book of Changes in terms of the families of chambers I already introduced before. Using this method, you don't have to know the words. You don't have to get related to the words. And you necessarily do not make fun of yourself, because when I read all the translations of the Book of Changes, no matter how famous and how good the scholars are, I cannot help laughing because they look ridiculous. Of course, I don't want to discourage you from even learning from scratches, because that's how you learn another culture, right? But from the phenomenology or the philosophical point of view, the best way to learn music, the meaning, is not by words, but by symbols. Okay, now I have to come to my point. This method is actually the way that most professional fortune tellers, when they do the Yijing predictions, they will apply. There is a process and there are formulas. So complicated I will not to mention all. But today, I just want to tell you about the relationships. They interpret Yijing in terms of relationship rather than words. So if you come to Tony Wang, you come to the right place. Because I tell you, the best way to learn Yijing is not by words. Don't go to the books. Don't worry about the translations. Because most translations cannot be sophisticated or deep or meaningful. But if you handle Yijing without worrying about words, you have the freedom of interpreting. And how do you interpret? You have to interpret in terms of one thing, which is 关系, relationship. There are 6 basic relationships I want to introduce, and you can compare my classification with some famous psychologists, social psychologists, of the groupings of personality theory. How do you group people in terms of personality types? The relationship tells us that the whole world is based on certain relationships. And what are these relationships? Number one, everything can be considered as peers. What is peers? Peers means siblings, brotherhood. We are all the same. The whole worlds are the same. All heroes are brothers. And brothers means that everything is the same category, the same. We can be the same like time, like place, or like the people around you. Now, you have parents, of course, but you have real brothers, sisters, and friends, right? So friends, brothers, sisters are the peers. This is the most important relationship. Tomorrow is your brother. Last year is your sister. So this relationship is, we treat everything as the same like us, which is, and you can put into yin and yang categories. Sister and brother. So you can treat the whole world as either your sister or your brother. And this is the first important relationship. Now, let me ask you to do some experiment. Have you ever tried to treat your parents as your brother, as your comrades, or as your sisters? Have you ever treated your teacher as brothers, sisters? I tell you, there are people who are doomed to have to treat everything, because in their composition, in their fortune composition, in their physical composition, everything are the same, except that they are either yin and yang. The same, I means, if you suppose you are a monkey or you are a banana, then everything in the whole world is banana. If you treat the whole thing, I think this is the highest level of brotherhood, humanhood. That's the best way to avoid conflicts. Now, in my next talk, I'm going to talk more about the categories, what it means, what does it relate to you, okay? Number one is brotherhood. This is what I'm called, brotherhood. Number two, parenthood. We can treat the whole world, everything, as either parent and children relationship. For example, we do have natural parents, of course. But how have you ever treated your house as your parent? If you think that every time you go to your house, inside the house, you feel like you are being embraced by your mother, being nurtured, being pampered, you have that kind of a warm feeling, then the house is your mother. The house is your father. That is your mother, not father. In Chinese relationship, father and mother are very different types. Different, okay? Motherhood. Motherhood, in a way, is like the shade of a tree. You go under the tree, you are covered, and you feel very warm and comfortable. And you are being nurtured. So, if something is nurturing another thing, this something is your mother. So the earth is your mother earth. Again, let me tell you, the relationship of mother and father in Chinese Yijing thinking is different. Father has a different categories, very funny categories. Okay. If you are born with a kind of the feeling that you always feel like you like to be a mother of someone, you want to pamper someone, you think that pampering is the most important thing, then to you the relationship, number one relationship is motherhood. So this is the second relationship. The earth, of course, provides provisions, food, nurturing us, so the earth is our mother. And some people are born with a very, very dominant thinking that this is the most important thing in his life and his personality, because he feels like playing the role of mother to people. And this person thinks that mother is most important, and this person is what we call the mother category type. And his guanxi is mother guanxi. Either she becomes somebody else's mother, or he or she is being mothered by somebody else. And the relationship of everything around him is defined in terms of nurturing or being nurtured. Now, in comparison with brotherhood, it's very different, because brotherhood, they only share, they don't nurture. Slowly I will be forcing you to ask you, what kind of type you are. If you are not feeling like the same two types I just mentioned, there is another type. What type? In Chinese, if you are trampled, you feel like you're trampled, you are being oppressed by someone, It's like, as police giving you a ticket, or you have to go to some government official who reprimand you, or want to lure you, ask you to follow the rules. This relationship is a management control relationship. Sometimes you like to control people, or you are being controlled. You think that everything is defined in terms of control or being controlled. This is the third category, the power-oriented relationship. This is very different from motherhood, very different from brotherhood. So this is the third type. Now, you either play a role as a ruler. You either control somebody, or you are being controlled. If you are very weak, you don't exercise your power, you are doomed to be a slave. You are doomed to be controlled by somebody else. And you always worry about what rules to follow. There will be laws. There will be management restrictions. Some people are born, the first breath, they feel like, wow, I come to the world, somebody's watching me, controlling me. Or else, wow, so good, I can start to giving orders, delivering order, asking somebody to do something for me. I become either official or a servant. So this is another relationship. Okay. Number 4 relationship is money. In Chinese, money has something to do with father. I don't know why, but father in Chinese Yijing thinking is money. And of course, another thing for a person, a man, is wife. Because he can, in the ancient time, the wife means his property. On the contrary, what I just mentioned about power, about the rules, or about the control management, this sometimes applies to women, female. And when you start Yijing, you're going to scream, fuck. What kind of a culture is this? So ridiculous. Because in Yijing, a woman and husband relationship is explained in terms of domination and power. That is to say, a woman, a girl, when he faces the whole world, he's either been taken or taken by somebody else. She becomes the property of somebody else, not property, become ruled by somebody else. And this somebody else ruled her. So she becomes the servant, the slave, or the subjects of a male person. So a wife to a husband is the ruler of the wife. Now, for man, as man is concerned, a woman is his money, as well as father is his money. So Yijing has a very funny kind of way to define the world. But I tell you, don't worry, because once you forget about the social relationship and you simply just make everything simply just in terms of how they relate to another thing, then you are free from the worry, okay? You don't feel angry and you feel more relaxed. Because Yijing has been in China for 2,000 years and it operates very well. So this relationship is in terms of money. So the money relationship, in the social aspects, means that for a man, wife is money. And for a woman, husband is power. Now, some Chinese society If you study very carefully, you will know. Although it is simply, discriminatory against the women, it is not. Because in Chinese society, being ruled by someone means that this person is, this lady is operating in terms of pure management control relationship. In which case, there is a likelihood that she will even become more powerful than the husband. So, for a woman, the husband is her power. Either she's ruled by husband or she actually can maneuver power by ruling over husband. So don't worry. Everything comes to equal. And money, in Chinese, for Yijing interpretation, father is, there are always two kinds of categories, two kinds of brotherhood, two kinds of motherhood, two kinds of the husbandhood, and two kinds of the wife moneyhood. Either yin and yang. For brotherhood, of course, the yin brotherhood is sister, and yang brotherhood is brother. And for motherhood, mother either is a yang mother or yin mother. It is not necessarily mother. What the difference between yang and yin? Yin is not legitimate. It's something like a windfall. You have to gain it by force. So, for example, we have a yin mother and a yang mother. Now, let me give you an example. If you feel like, taking care of a dog, you nurture the dog, then it becomes legitimate. It's a young mother, you become a mother. But yin mother in Chinese is more like stepmother. A stepmother or is a foster mother. So if you adopt a girl or a boy, an orphan, or a child, then the adoption will make you not legal. It's just something that you are foster. So it is, we call it the illegitimate, not legal part. But your legal mother is natural mother. So you can treat something as a natural mother or as not natural mother. Now we have a Chinese way of saying the yin and the yang. The not legitimate, usually we have a word means called side. Pian. Pian means not legal. And brotherhood, a sister is not legal. So a sister is pian. I will tell you more in terminologies. In this lesson, this talk, I will just explain about the categories. I will go into details next time. Okay, we're talking about the money. What money? If something you can control, you are able to use it. You have been able to use it, then this subject becomes your money. Now the whole world, for a financial person, the whole world is money. Everything is money. This person can sell even air. He can sell rice, sell McDonald's, sell a shop, sell gold, share everything. Everything to him is commodity. I remember at one time, an American very famous actress, in the ceremony, she said, "We are all commodities, merchandise." Movie actor actresses are merchandise. Actually, more than that, a movie is merchandise. Even a school is merchandise. As long as you can sell it, you can make money out of it. Okay, let me summarize what I said. Okay, in Yijing, the Book of Changes, the most important thing about the Book of Changes is relationship. And there are six. I will tell you why six. Relationship. Number one is brotherhood. And yin brotherhood, yang brotherhood. Or you can say legitimate or illegitimate. Brotherhood, motherhood. I say foster mother or real mother. And officialhood. Official means control. In Chinese society, a woman will have to call the husband officials. That's funny, huh? 官人. A woman in Chinese history, old society, has to refer to husband as official. Say, oh, my dear official. That sounds very funny. But official means that this person can control me, relate me in terms of power. And we have also legitimate and illegitimate. Now, for a woman, illegitimate is something that husband is maybe somebody she married a second time. As married a second time is illegitimate. We call pian. Pian actually means side, not the real one. Side, S-I-D-E, side. Pian. 偏官, 正官. 正官 means the right official. Now, wife is a man's money, and the father is a man's money, because father will give all the money when he died as a legacy. He will wield the money to the son, so it is illegitimate money, not official money. Okay, if a person works moonlighting, the salary that he gains is illegitimate. All this money he enjoyed, not in the legal term, not what he or she enjoy.
One last category is the subjugation. Someone who is the son of somebody else, is the descendant of somebody else, an orphan, or legitimate children. Children's category. You can define the whole world's relationship with you as if you are a son, a children of somebody else, or somebody else is your children or son or daughter. This is contrary to motherhood. For example, both works both ways. If two people are sitting side by side, one person is trying to nurture another, then this person is another person's mother. And that person who's been nurtured is the son or the children of the person who nurtured him. So both actually provide categories for the other party. I'm going to forget about the social relationship and come to the theoretical aspect of the fortune telling, the Yijing, by summarizing what I talk. In Yijing prediction, number one category is called 父母爻, parents hexagram. And the second is 官鬼爻. 官 is official, and the illegitimate official in Yijing term is ghost. Chinese treat the illegitimate or the dark side of the power as a ghost. So, for example, Chinese will treat a legitimate person as guan, means husband, and the illegitimate as gui, is a ghost. I will explain you why the ghost is used here. But anyway, it's about the power relationship. If the power relationship is legitimate, is official. And illegitimate, we say ghost. The same way like we say ghostwriter. And the following category is we have a brotherhood, a parenthood, and a brotherhood. Brotherhood is in Yijing prediction terms is 兄弟爻, brotherhood, literally. And another one is 子孙爻, descendants hexagram, descendants category. Something is descendant of another thing, of the children of another thing. And the money category, 财, 偏财, 正财, means official money and moonlighting money. And moonlighting money sometimes has some kind of a ghost spirit in it, right? But for a woman, if married the second time or become somebody's concubine, this husband is her ghost husband. And then last one is yourself. Using this relationship, the Chinese fortune teller, all the Yijing scholars, they start to play with all the relationship metrics of the relationship. It becomes very interesting. I will talk about more in the future. Thank you very much for listening.